From Abuja, the nation's capital, this is Matters Arising, coming to you live from the studio of KAFTAN Television. Matters Arising is the flagship talk show of KAFTAN TV that features in-depth discussions and analysis of topical and trending national and international issues by our team of seasoned broadcast journalists. My name is Maucauley Hunohashi, saying thanks for being there.
And I am John Okoro. It is a pleasure to have you join us on the program.
Okechukwu Onubogu here. Good to have you there.
We welcome you to today's show, which promises to be engaging, incisive, and interactive. You can also be a part of the conversation by calling our phone number 080-299-38365, which will be displayed on your screen later in the course of the show. Now, gentlemen, there was a cheering news, if I may put it that way, yesterday from Dangote Group, that by August is going to import fuel, and IOC have agreed, together with NNPC, to give him crude. So, which means there will be petrol in abundance across the length and breadth of Nigeria. For me, I received the news with, high expectations, and I was highly elated.
I think it's a good thing. It's good news. In fact, it's cheering news. Let's have some good news in our country. But there's a problem I noticed too, that the fuel queues, long queues that have been there for some days now, seem to have come down about 70%. But the problem is, having gone down, the price of fuel is still high. I wonder what happened. It somehow affects the transport fares too.
Yeah, just a follow-up to what Okechukwu has just said. In Nigeria system or the economy has always defied the law of gravity that says that anything that goes up must come down. But Nigeria is about up and up and up and not coming down. However, with the good news of Dangote loading PMS for next month, and the IOCs and the authorities are agreeing to supply him with local fuel, I believe that if you have the domestic market saturated with fuel that's refined in Nigeria, logically, economically, it should bring down the price of the pump price of fuel and also the cost of transport.
Well, indeed, it's cheering news, and there are high expectations. He also did announce that NNPCL no longer hold 20% shareholding in his company, but only 7.2%. But that'll be a conversation for another day, Okechukwu and John.
Yes.
Now, at this juncture, before I introduce our topics of discussion, let's join Sufon Omo for a quick roundup of events and happenings in the polity.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has condemned an assassination attempt on former U.S. President Donald Trump, the presumptive Republican presidential nominee for the November election. Trump was rushed off the stage when gunshots were fired at a campaign rally on Saturday in Pennsylvania, in a shocking incident that might rub off on the approaching campaigns and the eventual outcome of the 2024 election. In a statement on Sunday, Tinubu said the attack on Donald Trump was distasteful and beyond the pale of democratic norms, adding that violence has no place in democracy. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered the suspension of the proposed enforcement process on the Electronic Central Motor Registry Registration Process, ECMR. The enforcement was initially scheduled to commence on the 29th of July 2024. According to a statement issued by the Force Public Relations Officer Muyiwa Adejobi, the suspension is to allow for massive enlightenment to highlight the benefits and effectiveness of the ECMR initiative designed to ensure the safety and security of all types of vehicles. The suspension comes days after the Nigerian Bar Association's Section on Public Interest and Development Law, SPIDO, issued an ultimatum to Egbetokun demanding the immediate reversal of the directive. two Kaduna State-based reporters, Abdul Ghaffar Alabelewe of The Nation and Abdul Rahim Audu of Blueprint newspapers, abducted from their homes alongside some of their family members, have regained their freedom. They were received in Abuja on Sunday by the Information and National Orientation Minister Mohammed Idris from the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu. The minister commended security agencies for the speedy rescue of the victims and sympathized with the victims' families over the ordeal they passed. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) have intercepted various quantities of illicit drugs comprising of cocaine and opioids concealed in shoe soles and clothing items. A statement by the agency's spokesperson Femi Babafemi stated that NDLEA officers of the Directorate of Operations and General Investigations discovered 250 grams of cocaine concealed in the soles of custom-made shoes bound for Cyprus and over 5 kilograms of opioids destined for the US and UK. That is all on the news roundup. I am Siphon Omo.
Welcome back, and thanks to Siphon for taking us up to speed with news-making headlines. And now to our first topic. A building collapse is the sudden structural failing, partially or entirely, of a building, threatening human life, health status, and property. When internal load-bearing structural elements fail, a building will collapse into itself, and interior walls pulled into falling structure. Aside forces of nature, causes of building collapse could range from faulty design, negligence, incompetence, faulty construction, foundation failures, extraordinary loads, and corruption. Available statistics in Nigeria have shown that in the past 4 decades, over 600 buildings have collapsed across many parts of the country, which is said to be on the increase in recent times. Last week, Friday, the news of the collapse of a building at St. Academy, Jos, shook the country to its bone marrow. The collapsed 2-story building, which housed classrooms and offices, resulted in 22 deaths and 154 fatalities and injuries. The unfortunate incident happened when the students were in the middle of writing the 3rd term examination. Gentlemen, our hearts at KAFTAN Television goes out to the parents of the deceased, as well as people and government of Plateau State. It is a sad moment. It is a dark moment for Nigeria. The saddest part of it is that this tragedy is avoidable, and it keeps recurring. You know, it has become a decimal, and it is despicable for you to just wake up and, you know, with the news of collapsed building, something that's avoidable. The saddest part of that one that happened at St. Academy in Jos was the story of, you know, a couple that lost 4 children. There are 4 children who were in school writing examination. They have invested in those kids. I don't know the level of the educational level they have attained before the unfortunate incident happened. But people are grieving, people are sad, people are not happy because of negligence, incompetence, corruption of few individuals. In the building industry, I know quackery exists, and there's corruption. So I felt so sad. I couldn't hold myself together, you know, hearing this unfortunate incident. Only for us, 1-2 days after, to hear another building collapse in Karu here in the FCT. Another one just yesterday. There was another building collapse at Oshobo, and the only reaction from government was a warning that henceforth nobody will be given approval to erect any building.
Well, first of all, I need to say that of FCT was Kubwa, yes, and then we had the other one. You see, one painful thing that has been paining me, giving me serious pain, concern, is what has to do with this family, where parents will prepare their children to go to school. 4 of them even could have taken them to school themselves, only to be told later that none of those children will come home. It's such a painful thing. This is one family that has 4. I assure you, there must be another family that has 2 or 3 in there.
Yeah.
It's just that this one is one that has been mentioned. I wonder, what are you going to say to them? I wonder what even the owners of that school can say to any of these parents. Honestly, just as you said, this thing is what can be avoided. Why is it that there is no law in this country that will make it criminal for somebody to have a home that is getting to that level and then you collapse on somebody? All you hear is that they will talk about it soon, it will end. And those children are all gone. The parents will keep suffering. The person that built that school, the person that had that thing that happened, will be free, moving on the roads in the country. We need to think about these things. We need to really get bothered about this. It's been happening and happening. Like that one that happened in Kubwa. Thank God that some people who were staying in that compound, one family noticed the crack and decided to leave that night. The evening they noticed it. Then the second family left in the day. It was just only one or so that was still staying there. That's why it happened that there were only 4 people who were eventually all rescued. But why do we have to see these things and not take, and the government is not doing anything specifically, just as you mentioned. Just as you mentioned, the last one, the governor only issued a warning. What's that supposed to mean? Issuing a warning? Is that what should be? I wonder. Well, I just rest my case for now.
First of all, I think I have to also send my condolences to all those affected, especially the kids, the innocent kids who didn't commit any crime. All they wanted to do was to better their lives through education before the system failed them. That's what happened. The system failed them. The system failed their parents, their family, their immediate community, and the rest of the country. Because, it's easier to sit and talk about this. But if you put yourself inside those people's mindset as of now, I really wonder what they're going through.
They're not normal. It can't be
now,
normal.
I want to pose a question. Have you ever seen buildings in this country that were built maybe from the colonial era into the 60s and then into the mid-80s that has ever collapsed?
No.
Why? Because during that era, the building code was taken seriously. But today, it's all about corruption. What are you saying that called building collapse? It's simple. It's about compromising the bill of quantity and also using materials that are very, 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 very substandard. That's it, nothing else. Because if you want to build, every level of the process of building has a government agency that must approve, including the testing of the soil, to know whether the kind of structure you want to erect somewhere, whatever, can actually stand on the soil. You have to have even environmental impact assessment. It's part of that number one process. Then before you now take your plan to the authorities, they look at it, they approve the plan for you. Then you get your bill of quantities through a quantity surveyor. But today it doesn't happen. Do you know that at the time in this country, I remember in 2022, when it trended, that people who claimed that they were building engineers were using bamboo to do decking. Bamboo trees.
And they got approval.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It happened in this country.
People
were using bamboo instead of rod to do their casting and the decking in this country. You see, it is wickedness and greed. Do you know that? Let me just divert a little bit. Do you know that people who store food with chemicals, if the food is supposed to stay for 3 months before that chemical will expire, these people will go and bring out the food under 1 month because they want to sell, and go and sell poisonous food to people. People are dying in this country because they eat food. It's exactly what is happening in Nigeria in terms of building. It's the same problem. It's about greed, and it's about the failure of the institution. Because all these parents that lost their family, their children now, what will you tell them? What will you tell them? How can you console them?
No, I think I quite agree with you 100%. Talking about institutional failure, take a visit around Abuja, the federal capital territory. All these high-profile first generation buildings in Abuja, places like Area 1, Area 2, Area 3, they are all high-rise.
Area 11.
Yes, they are falling short of integrity test. And there are disasters waiting to happen. Just take a cursory look. Stand particularly behind where you have piping.
The
plumbing works. They are all dead. And these are disasters waiting to happen. I don't know, John, if you have gone around to see.
Yes, I understand what they're saying. And, something happened recently that was positive. It happened in Anambra State. I think a 200-room hostel that I think it was like a story building or 2-story buildings or so. People in the building noticed that that building had issue with integrity, and they reported to the authorities. Immediately, the matter went to the governor. The governor ordered that every single soul who lived in that building should evacuate less than 12 hours if you can. If you can evacuate in 1 hour, please do. You know that as soon as the last person left, that house collapsed. It happened in Anambra State about two at Oka. It's a unit kind of off-campus private hostels. Imagine what we would have had another tragedy on our hand before the just own happened.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about all this, just as we have been saying here, what is the authority doing? And if you look at that house in Jos, if you look at it well, you see it's supposed to be a very solid building. But maybe when you now try to look into the history, you may be told that it used to be...
it's not maybe, okay, it's not maybe.
Okay.
From available information, it was a bungalow.
Yes.
Originally, it was a bungalow.
Can you imagine that?
So later, as an afterthought,
from that bungalow, they now took it up to a two-story
building.
Without doing the necessary tests that should be done to ensure that that structure could be carried with what they have as a foundation. It's a problem. And if you ask now, you may not find a good builder that built that house or a civil engineer that was involved. It would have been that they just got some people, yes, let's just do it. And they started doing, So these are the things we need to check. There are builders, there are engineers, there are the architects that will check, talking about the plan of the house. And all these things put together, they are the things that will make it beautiful, that someone has a house.
We have a caller.
Hello.
Hey, good evening, sir. This is Matters Arising. Your name, please, and where you're calling from. Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you in the studio. We can hear you.
Okay. I am calling from Akwa Ibom.
Akwa Ibom, your name, sir?
Okay. My name is Engineer Willie.
Okay, Willie, Engineer Willie. Go ahead with your comments, sir.
Yes. I so much appreciate your consent, you people consent in the happening of this country. I want to point at certain things that cause building collapse in this country. We all went to school, studied different courses. We came back from school. We came out from school with good certificates. Do you know that Nigeria do not have code? There's nothing like Nigerian code, Nigerian standard. We use British standard in Nigeria. Where their topography is not our topography, their soil is not our soil. We don't, and we are using British standard. Till today, after independence for so many years, we don't have Nigerian code. Okay. That is point one.
Okay.
Point two, somebody will read architecture, which is supposed to design a building. It's not the builder. The other person will read building. The other person will read civil engineering. These are three different people, but you will see a homeowner carrying the job that's supposed to be given to a civil engineer, giving it to an architect. This is what is happening in the country. Let me give you the third point. The third point is that even the professionals are no longer getting jobs, just like myself. No jobs comes again. You will just see the owner of the building will call his brother and say, he has been there, he has been building. You understand? Yes. To cut costs. And he will give a job to unprofessional people. And they will mess up. And when this kind of incident happens, they will go back. The government will not react. We have a lot of graduates that are roaming the street. Well to do. But the job is not given to them. Go back to the town planning offices. You will see the ancients of that they were drawing with pen and pencil, still staying in that office for more than while people that are using computer to analyze Orion and so many software that can analyze the load of a building in less than 30 seconds, in less than 20 minutes, will not be given opportunity to start in that capacity. So corruption from top to bottom. And that is what we are addressing. If we continue this way, this is just the genesis. One of my friends told me something, said, if you continue to do the same thing the same way, you will have the same result.
Yes.
This is what is happening, and it will continue. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Thank you, Willie. Willie has raised some salient points, but my takeaway here is that when you go to ministries, particularly Federal Ministry of Works, you see the people who you refer to as ancient of days. These people continue to tinker with their age to remain in the service, and they have not moved with the trend, with the contemporary trend of of modern way of doing things. That's the more important exactly thing.
That is even the most important thing. Even if they are old, but they are still moving with the trend, it will make better sense. But this time you find out that both are happening. Old age is there. The person that should have retired, every time you see the person applying dye on the head so that you will not know how old he or she is. And then they will not be prepared to study, to get themselves up to speed with what is happening in the modern world. It's a shame. But all the same, I want to say something. Even these buildings, it's just, as I mentioned, this engineer has said the same thing. There are 3 different people that you need to get, in the process. But sometimes someone will sidetrack the 3 of them and use one person to do everything. Oh, he does well. Let him just draw the what do you call it now, of the house. It's not the map now. What do you call it? The plan. The plan of the house, please. That's what I mentioned. So they will just draw the plan. Okay, it's good. Since you are the person that drew the plan, you can as well carry out that assignment. And you see the person accepting it. How would you accept what you know is more than you? That's the question. You forget that lives will be involved in this matter. Now people are dying. I don't know whether people understand that when the life of one single person is taken as a result of one person's other person's negligence, that there will be trouble in his own life.
Good evening. This is Matters Arising. You're welcome.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Your name, please. Where are you calling from?
Okay. I'm Builder Sunday Abo. I'm calling from Abuja.
Builder Sunday Abo.
I'm calling from Abuja.
Okay, go ahead with your comment.
Okay. I want to lend my voice to the discussion.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. The challenge with the construction industry in Nigeria is the fact that the high level of corruption is much. And even up to this moment, after 1960, just like the other caller said, we are still depending on the British standard. Take for example, you go to the market in Nigeria, all our material are designed and manufactured based on the British standard. And we don't even have a conventional environment with them. Take another scenario. If you go to a ministry to seek for approval, even the ministry don't even come to your site to inspect. All they do, give them kickback. They've approved your drawing. Everything good. And it's on and on. If you go to land and survey, the same thing. Go to development control, the same thing. All over. Even as I speak with you, I went to a site today. 6-story building, being managed by a pharmacist. All over. The professionals they are there. They won't give them the job.
Oh God.
People are around. All they do, if they have a brother who is a local medicine, they give them the job to do. No technical ability, no nothing. It's unfortunate to say, but we've not even started witnessing building collapse in Nigeria. The trend is going to continue, except the government do something. If you go around and test building in Federal Capital Territory, Abuja here, half of the building won't pass integrity test. I challenge anybody to do that. 50% of the building in Federal Capital Territory will not pass integrity test. And all we do is the quest for quick money and material benefit all over the country, not just in Abuja here, everywhere you see. And come to think of it, if you go to the local villages, even when our aged parents were using mud, so no building is standing, even without using cement and road, they're still standing. But in our own case, many materials have been standardized to an extent. We are still having collapse. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Builder Sunday. Builder Sunday has just reiterated what John really said,
yes.
Concerning those days. Our people used mud to build houses. Some of them even, two-story buildings. But they are still standing.
Yeah, some of them are over 100 years old. And people are still active.
Yes.
I know. Well, I think we have talked about those who are supposed to be quacks, who have found their way in the building industry. There are also people who are supposed to be professionals, who have also compromised and have continued to compromise, especially in the area of bill of quantities and the quality of materials. For example,
the regulators.
Yes, that is exactly the point I'm making. For example, you give a quantity surveyor a job to get me the bill of quantity. Because of the issue of money, they now put substandard stuff for you. Or even sometimes, they may even give you, for example, maybe what you need is iron 16, for example, or some, they will write iron 16 there.
John,
okay.
Iron 16. Hello. Good evening, this is Matters Arising.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, my name is Dad from Okechukwu.
Yeah.
Calling from Port Harcourt.
Okay, go ahead with your comment. It's your show.
The problem with engineers is they don't do soil tests. They don't do test of materials and test and reliability of the building.
Okay.
Most of these engineers, they go to the ministry and they take money from them and they sign weak architectural design, which will definitely cause problems in the near future. So that's it. So the engineers need to look at this problem very well. Soil test is very, very important. Test of material is very, very important. Please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adaku. You did mention about soil test and test of materials.
I know.
And we tried to circumvent
that was the first thing I actually mentioned. When I began my intro at the beginning, that was the first thing I mentioned, that the first thing that you have to do is actually to test the soil where you are going to erect the building.
An environmental impact assessment.
Yes. Now, as I was saying before.
We have another caller. Hold your thoughts there.
Okay.
Hello. Good evening. This is Matters Arising.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Bishop from Lagos.
Bishop, go ahead with your comments, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. I've heard a lot of comments throwing blame to the government and corruption. The issue of corruption should not be thrown alone to the government alone. And then what happens? The reason why these engineers are complaining that they're not being given the job that they're experts. Are you aware that engineers haven't been giving them a job? They will end up using the materials of the owners of the house to build their personal house.
Okay.
That is what they do. So where they're supposed to use 10 cement, they will reduce it to 5. They will take the remaining personal houses. So the corruption is not on one side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bishop.
This last caller just took the word out of my mouth.
Yes.
And I was saying something about iron 16.
Yes.
When I talked that maybe what you need at a particular place is iron 16. And if you look at the bill of quantity, you will see iron 16 there.
Yes.
Then maybe they will go and buy for you iron 12. But because you are not a professional, you might not know the difference between iron 12 and iron 16. And they will use that iron for you to go and do something. And tomorrow, you compromise the place. So it's not just about whether you have quackery in the system. It's also about a two-way corruption. The authorities are not concerned about supervision, about safety standards, and also even within the building, the professional bodies, you also have people who are quick in making money, and they compromise also.
Okay, before that comment, let's take this caller. Good evening. Welcome to Matters Arising.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Your name, please, where you're calling from?
My name is Fidelis. I'm calling from Kaduna.
Go ahead with your comments, Fidelis.
Yeah, my contribution to this discussion, the government need to enact a law. If there's any building collapse, the engineer should be produced.
Okay.
And if the owner of the house did not use engineer, the man should go to jail. That is one. And secondly, I experienced an issue when I went to block industry to pick some few blocks. Only parking of the block, you see the block, all the block damaged. So we also need to monitor those industries. We need to put a structure in those industries that produce blocks. The quality of the blocks. Okay. And in addition to what the first call also mentioned, our standard organization of Nigeria also need to begin to monitor the country. So if we can look at all these things, I believe this issue of building collapse will reduce.
Thank you, Fidelis.
Because this life is involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fidelis from Kaduna. Okay, Chico, you are about reacting to.
Well, I was trying to say that that man just said that the engineer would use half of the thing that's supposed to be used to
build his own house
and to go and do his own. That's a serious accusation. I believe that it's not what engineers do.
Are you an engineer?
The people that do these things are those ones that are these quacks we're talking about.
Speaking for engineers.
But all the same, there could be some people that will do that.
Exactly.
But it shouldn't be a major thing that will be the problem, because I know that people who are qualified engineers, they have their integrity. They want to, when you're giving them a job to do in any house, at stake. So I believe that, I mean, it's not just what you find like that. But all the same, I'm not saying that there's nobody that doesn't practice such a thing.
Bad eggs, yeah.
Yes, there are bad eggs in every field in life. But all the same, let's also think, in all of these things, looking at the government side, these people that are supposed to go and supervise, that don't ever go anywhere to supervise.
Okay.
They'll collect money from them, bribe, and pass it on.
Hello, good evening. This is Matters Arising.
My name is Kenneth.
Kenneth, from where?
I'm coming from Startimes.
Focus.
Yes, Startimes. So what I want involved here is that we do have a kind of bad engineers, whereby Nigerian Society of Engineers does not supervise or.
Okay, go ahead.
And also, quack engineer or quack ethics also build houses whereby people tend to boycott costs. They will pick up those people to build their houses. And these are major problems that are causing collapse of buildings in our society. Okay. And also signing of buildings that are not past any test and liability, and also have not gone onto soil test. So these are my own contributions to this.
Okay, thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you.
Okechukwu, you were mentioning something about government supervision. That reminds me of a story of an engineer, a site engineer who was detailed to monitor a project that was going on that was given to a contractor. And you know, no contractor will be paid until that site engineer signs, approval that the job has met, certified, level, and before he will be given certificate of completion and subsequently paid his money. That engineer was an upright engineer who wanted to live above board. He came, he hit one of the bricks, and the thing, the thing just scattered. So the contractor was told about what the engineer did. He came and asked him, "Are you the one that did this?" He was like, "Yes, I did it, and your blocks are not strong enough." The following day, he reported him to the authorities, and the guy was removed. That's the corruption John was talking about.
Yes, serious corruption. So because he had someone in authority, he didn't bother. He just used whatever he could.
All his concern was the money was going to make.
Yes. And you see, the man that was sacked because of, or removed because of doing the right thing. I pray that God will help him, because this is what leads to.
Prayer note. Let's take this.
This is what leads.
Let's take this caller. Good evening. This is Matters Arising from KAFTAN TV in Abuja.
Good evening, I'm Mr. Omar. I'm calling from Akure.
Okay, Mr. Who?
Mr. Omar, I'm calling from Akure.
Okay, go ahead with your comments.
Yeah, thank you. I want to speak about the issue of corruption.
Okay, sir, go ahead.
How can a Ministry of Works go to the site when they have used the out there and try to stop work? You understand? Then at the end of the day, the building has to stop working. They will fix continually and build it out. And the Ministry of Work. So how do we ensure that sort of this thing will not be happening? The problem we have is directly to the Ministry of Work, either the federal or the state level or the local level. Ensure this thing is at adjustment. So that's my contribution.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Umar from Akure, go ahead.
He said, stop work. And after a while, you see the work still going on effectively, is it not? Well, we need to find out why the work was asked to be stopped in the first place. And if not for this talk about corruption now, we'll say the fellow is supposed to go back to the ministry to find out exactly the reason for which it was stopped and correct the anomaly and continue with the project. That is it, if it is in the right site. But then you find out that in most cases it's not like that. Let John say what he wants to say.
All right. What I was trying to say was that there's something, a caller mentioned something about the quality of blocks. The quality of blocks. Yes. I think it's important that we also look at it as part of the problem, because the blocks are the building blocks. They are the building blocks. Remember that in those days that we use the re-blocks before in fact it started with bricks, burnt bricks. Then you now had the blocks themselves. Then you now had what you have today, the vibrated blocks, the one that have the openings.
Yes.
But today, as I speak, if you have one bag of cement, it should give you, with a good sharp sand, one bag of cement should give you at least about 60. If you want to compromise, you can make 60. But if you want to be good, 50 blocks.
But why are the blocks thinning?
That's what I'm saying. So, but today, people will use one bag of cement to produce 70 blocks.
To 80.
Today.
80.
Okay, on that note, viewers, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, the conversation continues from KAFTAN TV studios in Abuja. Please stay with us. Imagine a beautiful world. We're not just bragging. We know our onions in the world of broadcasting. One of our outlets to express ourselves to the world is our flagship program, Matters Arising. Join veteran broadcaster Ruben Okala and our crack team live.
And they give us a high price, and we just say, Nigeria, we ready?
As I said earlier, the lyrics is up, talking about the old new national.
On KAFTAN TV, Startimes channel 480 and 124, as well as NIGCOMSAT frequency 12518, symbol rate 29500, every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 8 p.m. live. You can join the conversation by calling this phone number 0802-993-8365. It's dramatic and insightful. Don't miss it. Please join us. When we say you're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Matters Arising, and our topic of conversation this evening is incessant collapse buildings in Nigeria. The menace has come back. We have a caller. Okay, we have lost that caller. You are on a line of thoughts.
Yes. John, before you go to that one now, remember, I was saying something about the person that was sacked or removed from office. I know that justice will come one day. So let's not, because of the fact that we want to remain,
okay, the caller has been calling.
Leave the office, leave it.
Hello, good evening. This is Matters Arising.
Yes.
Yes, what's your name?
Hello.
We can hear you. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
Yeah. I am calling from Maucauley.
Okay, your name?
I was the first caller.
Okay, you are the first caller. That is Willie.
I was the first caller.
Engineer.
I want to correct an impression, please.
That's Engineer Willie.
Yes, please. You people are on air. There are certain things you don't say on air. Like John is saying 60 blocks per one bag of cement. It's not considering the type of sand, the type of blocks. So please, why educating people? Because you are the first person. Somebody will quote him tomorrow that John said this.
Okay.
So John, if it is not your field, don't go there, please.
Noted.
It is not hollow block. Is it a hollow block? Is it 5 inches? So please try to make sure you govern your words according to your own area of jurisdiction. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Engineer Willie.
Thank you so much.
Engineer Willie was just trying to
I accept what he said, but I think it would have also been good for him to tell us as a professional, to tell us what is the right thing.
Yes.
You understand?
Okay.
But we accept him.
Personally, when I built my house in the village, the blocks that was produced for me was 40 blocks per bag of cement. You know why? Even to penetrate the wall with a nail, I need to drill it. I need to drill the wall. So I wanted a very, very solid structure. So I insisted, because I made so much inquiries, and I insisted after being told of the difference. And
It's
I produced, 40 blocks per cement. Then the blocks are solid.
Then the other thing that has to do with what the man said now is that there are hollow blocks. There are the other one that is not hollow.
That the vibrated blocks.
So all these things are the things you consider before you now say anything. But thank you so much. I think we still have some more people to talk to.
Okay, there are callers. Calls out.
All right.
Good evening.
Hello.
You're welcome.
Yes, Engineer Willie.
Engineer Willie, go ahead with your comment. This is your show. It's your show. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for giving me the room to do this. Please, when you want, anybody that wants to go mold block should consider the type of sand used.
Okay.
Because the type of sand, the neatness of the sand, quantity of sand determines the number of blocks you will bring out from a bag of cement. And also consider, when you call a bag of cement, there are people that sell cement and they now remove part of the cement and it's no more 50 kg.
Okay.
All this should be taken into consideration before you now tell a molder, remove so number. There is what we call compression test in building. So you must be able to leave it for a professional to look at the sand, test the sand, know how many blocks will be adequate for a bag of cement. That is why we are messing up things now.
Okay.
So please try and make sure a professional is there that tests the sand and know whether the cement is up to 50 kg and determine the number of blocks according to the size of blocks that he wants to produce. I tell you, this is the quantity. That is the right way to go. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for that clarification.
I enjoyed this. Thank you very well.
Thank you very much. You are a regular caller. Thank you very much, Engineer Willie. We appreciate. Engineer Willie has made salient points, and
yes.
my takeaway there is that before you embark on any building a structure,
get the professional to let you know.
But how many people would understand the kind of sand to be used?
That's exactly
it. What owners of property usually do is get me sand.
Go to
how many people of sand do I require for this?
How many builders actually mold blocks by themselves? They just go to the block industry and buy blocks.
Okay. Some of these blocks that we get from block industries. Okay.
Hello, good evening. My name is Mr. Godwin. I'm from Kogi State.
Mr. Governor.
Mr. Godwin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm calling from Kogi. I want the issue of cement, at least minimum. Want to use cement to mold block. At least 40 blocks will give a good sound of a good block. One bag will give 40 blocks, which the block will be very solid, and it will give us a good foundation. Then on the aspect of the iron, I was hearing him say 15 mm iron, and sometimes they will bring 12. If you look at those iron now, if it is in those days when Nigeria are producing iron, we have good irons. But not producing any iron. So whatever irons they are getting is not strong. The quality is not there because the mental they're supposed to use, the billet they're supposed to use for this iron rod, they are not using it.
Okay.
So sometimes it is not the fault of the engineers, it is the fault of the manufacturer of those materials they are using.
Okay.
So we need to look into that.
Okay.
Because if we are blaming the builders, the engineer doing the building, we are blaming them for nothing. It's just for the federal government to stop this factory that is manufacturing those roads or manufacturing any materials we are using for building.
Okay.
So
Thank you. Regulatory organizations
yes, that's
a
it.
very
That's
huge role to play.
in every
standard.
way. Yes, to check everything, including, just as I was saying, including the blocks, because some that you find from block industries, you want to buy, you go to a block industry, you want to buy 30 blocks, as you're picking them, you may pick one and it will just scatter like that.
Just scatter.
So there is something there is something that we need to check about these things. So let the regulatory body do all that should be done. They know themselves anyway. They know what to do. They know where they are not doing it well. May this be a clarion call for all of them to wake up to doing that which is their responsibility.
I'm even also, I don't know whether there are also people that actually supervise the block industries, because the block industries are key to the buildings, because the blocks actually make up the building blocks. So are there actually authorities?
Let's take this caller. Hello, good evening, and this is Matters Arising from KAFTAN Studios in Abuja. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, sir.
Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Twagbe.
Beg your pardon?
My name from Abuja. My name is Twagbe.
Twagbe. From where?
Maucauley.
Maucauley. It sounds it's like a chief name. Go ahead with your comment.
I'm coming from Abuja.
You're calling from where?
Abuja.
Okay, go ahead with your contribution.
I hear last night. Okay. Goodbye. Night.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Thanks for calling. She called from Benue, she called from Abuja.
Yes, maybe
she now said bye-bye.
Maybe she's from Benue, and so we just wanted to be
I think it's very, very important that based on what the nation is experiencing today, I think it's important that the block industry sector should be looked into very, very, very well, because they form the building blocks of the building.
Yeah. Let's take this call again. Hello, good evening. This is Matters Arising.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Your name, please, and where you're calling from?
My name is Hassan Sani.
Okay.
I'm calling from Benue State.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I want to correct Mr. Okoro.
Hey, please calm down the volume of your television set. Mr. Okoro, today you are the one they are correcting. Please turn down the volume of your TV and then continue with your comment while correcting Mr. Okoro.
Is the national TV. The 60 per bag of cement is very wrong.
Okay.
The moderator answered you. A bag is to 40 block at most. So that is it.
Okay.
Beg. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hassan Sani from Okoro. You are not an engineer. You are a house owner. You are a landlord.
It's okay. I think it's a talking point. And we are being educated the more. So if I hadn't brought it out, whether rightly or wrongly, maybe nobody would have even talked about it.
Did you have a collapse building?
No. The point is that I have actually built, and while I'm speaking from a certain experience, however, that doesn't mean that your experience will be the universal experience. There could be standard that some of them are saying, because I know that there are people who also do far more than that. However, the most important thing here is that let the authorities actually do the right thing. Every process of building, from the block industries down to the level and the type of soil, till the last level of that house, the people who supervise, just like they did in the olden times in this country. It happened here in this country. That's why when I began, I said, have you ever seen buildings that were built from those days, even up to the mid-80s, that just collapsed because something happened, because of the issue of substandard things? You cannot see it. But why is it happening today? Because why did it happen there? Because the people of that time, the authorities of that time, were very serious in terms of standard. Even the size of the rooms had a standard. But today, people build 10 by 10 as a living room for people to live inside. People are parking inside to live.
You're talking about 10 by 10. Haven't you seen 8 by 8? Even 6 by 8.
So these are part of the standards.
6 by 6. Yeah, I've seen all of these in Abuja. I'm not talking about 6 by 6. I'm not talking about far away places. I've seen it. When we know it is not right, so that's why you see someone saying he lives in a 2-bedroom flat. If you come to look at his two-bedroom flat, it's smaller than my sitting room.
Good evening. You're welcome to Matters Arising.
Yeah. Good evening. My name is Mr. Hilary. I'm calling from Abia State.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I want to correct impression. People that is attacking Mr. Okoro saying 50 blocks is wrong. I disagree. Because why? When we were talking about building wooden block of 40, 38, 45, 42, they are all correct. That is when cement was 3,000, 3,500, 4,000.
Yes.
Okay.
No Nigerian man that is hustling on the street who agree to buy cement 10,000, 9,000, 12,000 to mold block. Let's say mold 40 pieces of block. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Unless you are a senator or you are a governor. So Mr. Okoro saying 50 blocks per
bag of cement.
It's not too wrong. It's not too wrong. I built a house when cement was 4,000. What I molded was 45 pieces of blocks. Even the ones I used on fence, I molded them 50. They are perfectly open.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Daddy.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to the aid of Mr. Okoro.
I hope you are taking this in good faith. Because
I said it that it's not a universal idea. It depends on where you are coming from. But if the professionals are saying this, fine. But so you see, someone else also has a different perspective, and that is how life is. So it's good that this particular thing has been brought to the fore, so that everybody will learn out of it, including myself.
Yourself, yes.
Go ahead.
No, beautiful things are happening. You see, when we get to have things done the right way they ought to be done, we will not be complaining. You know, we started with
let's take our 13th caller.
Okay.
Hello?
Good evening, sir. You're welcome.
You. I'm seeing Mr. Godwin.
Okay.
I'm Mr. Godwin Onubogu, calling from Kogi State.
Okay.
I want to correct last speaker now.
Okay.
Saying that using one bag of cement to get 50 blocks, when the cost of amount they are buying cement now. If they follow such saying it, then building will continue to collapse. You will not say because we are buying cement at the range of 9,000, 12,000 naira, they should be using because of that to mold SS instead of a minimum of 35 or 40.
Okay.
Then they will still voice down to the engineer molding the block that is the one fault. It's not the engineer. It is what he asked the engineer to do. That is what the engineer moved for him.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That reminds me, I know of somebody that got a qualified engineer to build for him. And the engineer looked at the space to build and looked beyond the space, so that there was something like a valley, not too far away from the site, and that it needed to build something that would be about a 3-story building. So the engineer said, no, we will not do this work. And the man said, no, why not get it done? It will be okay. Don't worry, nothing will not affect it. I know that engineer. I still know him up to today. He refused to do that job.
Okay,
he said no and left it. Integrity.
Good evening, our 14th caller. Please, your name and where you're calling from.
I want to greet you.
You want to greet what? Who?
I want to greet you to do your news very nice.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate it.
So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So it was integrity. Thank you for greeting us. It was integrity that made the man say he didn't want the job done. Incidentally,
my name is Ahmad Pene.
Oh,
go ahead, Okechukwu.
Oh, someone is still talking.
Right.
Okay, so that's what we're asking for, is let every part of this job be put in perfect order. That way, there will not be reasons for us to fear collapse in any shape or form.
Okay, we have a caller. Hello, good evening. You're welcome to Matters Arising on KAFTAN Television in Abuja. Hello, go ahead. I love the caller.
I think it's all about standardization.
Yeah.
And if you hear from many of the experts who called, they mentioned that we are still using the British code.
British standard.
That we don't have a standardized Nigerian building code. I think it's something that the authorities must do something about. That's number one. Then number two, I think there should be a wake-up call now for the authorities that a time has come for us to start playing the passive game of being nonchalant over the lives of people. Because a mistake made today, by either a qualified engineer who want to compromise or by a quack who don't understand the system, sometime in the future is going to cost people's lives, like what happened in Jos. So as far as we can get it right from the onset, all will be well. And at the end of the day, we see how to take the blame right to the table of the authorities.
We have the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We also have KOREN, the licensing body. They have their own solutions to this problem. We also have the Association of Builders. They have their own solution to this problem. We have other people, one field or the other, as well as they are all connected to the house and the building, including the architects. They all have solutions. Let there be a roundtable discussion that they will all come before the authorities and present something so that they could work out a program that will be for Nigeria.
Okay. I quite agree with Okechukwu and John Okoro that all hands must be on deck for us to have a common ground to fight this menace for the good of the country. And this is how far we can go on our package tonight on Matters Arising. We thank our esteemed viewers and our vibrant callers. We then take you for granted for making the program interactive. On behalf of our producer, Ruben Okala, and the entire production team that make the program possible, I remain yours truly, Maucauley Hunohashi. Good night and see you next time.
And I am John Okoro. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okechukwu Onubogu here says, have a blessed night.
And as we say on KAFTAN TV,
Imagine a beautiful world.